The former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Elizabeth, or Liz Truss. Welcome, Liz. How are you?
I'm very well. Great to be on the show, Glenn.
Thank you. So, I'm sorry, I just don't know. Do we still call you Prime Minister? Like sometimes
not in Britain.
Not in Britain. Okay. All right. So, I don't know if you remember this, but we met earlier this year, and we just had exchanged a few words. But in listening to you speak and everything else, I thought this problem is bigger than any of us thought it was, and it is deep, deep, deep in the structures of not only our country, but England as well. They're going in a different direction than what they're telling people. Did I read you right?
That is absolutely right. And it was I'd been a government minister for 10 years. And it was only when I got into number 10 Downing Street that I understood the full scale of what we were up against. Because it isn't just the political parties. It's not just the civil service. The left have successfully captured the institutions in Britain. And it is going to be a very, very big struggle to be able to change things here. And, we now have an even worse situation. We have a socialist government that want to try and cancel free speech. They are trashing the British economy. People are leaving Britain. Millionaires are leaving Britain at a faster rate than any other country in the world at the moment.
Jeez.
So we are in a very, very difficult situation. And the Labour Party are going for free speech. You'll be aware that they've attacked X, they've attacked Elon Musk repeatedly, because that is one of the few avenues where people are really hearing the truth of what is happening.
So there is a story that was just released yesterday, internal documents from the Center for Countering Digital Hate, whose founder is a British political operative, Morgan McSweeney, now advising Kamala Harris campaign. The internal plans show the group in writing plans to, quote, kill Musk's Twitter while strengthening its ties with Biden-Harris administration and the Democrats, like Senator Amy Klobuchar, who has introduced multiple bills to regulate online misinformation. So it's showing that something that is in your country, started in your country, partly funded by us, and now brought into our administration, is actively working with our administration, and I would assume in some ways your administration, not yours, but the administration of Great Britain, to silence speech. Our governments are in cahoots doing really bad things to the public, are they not?
And just to be clear, Morgan McSweeney is now the chief of staff to the Prime Minister. So this man is incredibly senior within the Labour Party's administration. And there have been numerous public attacks on X by the Prime Minister. Now, I don't believe that he will succeed if he takes on Elon Musk. But the mentality isn't to have an honest discussion about what's happening in Britain. The mentality is to try and quash any dissent and stop people talking about the very real issues that are affecting us. For example, the sheer scale of illegal immigration into this country. So we have a very worrying government. And I've been following the US elections and comments by Hillary Clinton, comments by members of the Democrat campaign. And it seems to be the same thing going on. That not only are they putting in place these disastrous policies, they're also trying to stop anybody talking about them.
I've been talking about this for a while and been trying to get people to understand this is not about left versus right, Democrat versus Republicans. This is about elites and against the people. And the people know they're being lied to. How can there be a problem throughout the entire West of illegal immigration at the scale we've never seen ever before in the history of the modern world? And our press in every single country is treating it exactly the same as are the administrations. that doesn't compute. It doesn't work out mathematically to be a coincidence.
And you're right about the public. The public understand there's a problem. They really are fed up with the mainstream media in Britain that not telling the truth about what's happening and presenting things in a way that is very far from their real experiences. And you started off, Glenn, by saying England is doing this to the US system. It's not England. The English people, the British people, are
With us.
Very much concerned about illegal immigration.
Yes, I know.
It's the Labour Party, it's the media elites, it's the corporatists, and it is the civil service and the bureaucracy, which does not want to know.
So how much of a role did this play in the destruction of Donald Trump and you?
What happened to me was the Bank of England were, and they've admitted this since, were responsible for the market turmoil that took place in October 2022. But the British media adopted the narrative that it was my fault. So they took the narrative from the Labour Party, from the Bank of England, and they simply repeat it. And they repeat it to this day, even though the Bank of England has put out an official report saying 2/3 of it was their fault. And what I think has changed about the media is it's no longer a neutral arbiter. It is pushing a particular narrative and a particular agenda. And I see the same about Donald Trump. If you look at what CNN puts out, they are not interested in what the truth of the situation is. Even the reporting of President Trump's visit to McDonald's. I mean, it's just some ludicrous media commentary on that. Yeah. And I think it is a massive problem. And it's why we need very strong independent media here in Britain. It's why we need X. I mean, Elon Musk is effectively the leader of the opposition now in Britain. That is the situation we're in.
Yeah, he is in Brazil. He is really all over the world. He is, and I don't think he could do it if he wasn't the richest man in the world. But he is truly the last gatekeeper. If he goes down, there is no gatekeeper in power currently today that will keep the gate of freedom of speech alive. That's a little terrifying.
That's right. And in the United States, you have the First Amendment. We don't have that in Britain.
I know.
We're in a worse position for the protection of freedom of speech. And we have seen people very recently jailed for things that they put on social media.
Yeah, they've gotten.
Those might not be wise things that they put on social media, but there are other people being let out of jail who've committed very serious crimes.
Right. I saw a story from England that was a pedophile got less time than somebody who said something stupid on social media. That person, they threw the key away, but the person who was a pedophile didn't have the same kind of sentence at all. That's madness.
It is madness. And what has happened is that our judiciary is no longer accountable. It's no longer accountable in the way it was. And this goes right back to the 2000s. And it was Tony Blair's government that took away the accountability from our judiciary. And they outsourced so many decisions that used to be made by politicians have now been outsourced to the bureaucracy. And they are not accountable to anyone.
Yep.
Not accountable to anyone.
It's exactly what we did here. So are you optimistic that because this is such an octopus that quite honestly has the intellectual power of the world at the universities, has the money of the corporations, the power of the state, the power of the media, this is going to be really hard to kill. This is a hydra. Are you optimistic that the people can win all around the world?
The number one thing is the people are on our side, and they are becoming increasingly frustrated. And you saw that in Britain at the last election, where it was the lowest proportion of the electorate voted for the two main parties because they are so frustrated that whoever they vote for into office, they get the same policies because the bureaucrats are still there. So the people are on our side, and that is our big strength. It's going to be very important that Donald Trump wins the election in the United States. I hear good things, Glenn.
Yeah.
You're closer to the ground than me, but this is vital, and it isn't just vital for America, it's vital for the West overall. Because I can imagine what a Kamala Harris presidency will do for things like freedom of speech, and it is not pretty.
Especially in collusion with Starmer in England, Great Britain. That's terrifying.
That's right.
Can I ask you, the Labour Party is doing something that is apparently legal here in the United States as long as there's no money changing hands. But I'd like to see anybody from Great Britain come and knock on doors in Texas. They wouldn't really be welcome. But you have 100 people from the Labour Party, the Socialist Party now, coming over to the United States and helping Kamala Harris, not only through advising, but actually on the street working for her campaign. I've never seen that before. Have you?
No, and given the ruination that they're bringing to Britain, I don't know why any American would think that is what they want in the United States. Our energy prices are 4 times your energy prices because of our net zero agenda, because we're not doing fracking. These are the kind of policies these people are advocating. So I don't think any American would want to listen to them. I think there's a question, though, these people who are coming over, who's paying for their airfares? Who's paying for their accommodation? Has that been properly accounted for? Have the receipts been produced? Those are the questions I would be asking.
If the Republican Party or the Democratic Party came over and did the same thing, how would the people of Great Britain react?
Well, it would be a problem because under our electoral law, you have to be a British citizen to donate to the campaign.
Right.
And if the Americans had flown over, who's paying for their flights?
Right.
That would count towards election expenses, and it would be classed as a foreign donation, which is illegal.